On behalf of the Executive Committee, our council and committee chairs, it is my pleasure as president of the Florida chapter of the American College of Surgeons to present this video chat update as we prepare to gather in Boston for the 2023 Clinical Congress of the American College of Surgeons. My goal today is to discuss engagement opportunities at the Clinical Congress, update you on the All Florida reception to be held on Monday, the 23rd of October, and to highlight Florida surgeons' engagement in the academic program of the Clinical Congress. In addition, I wanted to make you aware and hope that you will participate in the All Florida Surgical Advocacy event to be held at the Capitol in Tallahassee on the 4th and 5th of December, less than 2 months away. Let's start first with the advocacy event. First, I wanted to thank the members of the Advocacy Committee, including our chair and vice chair, Dr. Mike Petit and Dr. John Armstrong. Other members of the committee are Ross Goldberg, Rohan Joseph, Patricia Byers, Jason Wilson, Ibrahim Nassour, and Deepak Nair. This year's event will take place on the evening of the 4th of December and all day on the 5th of December. This is a Monday and Tuesday during committee weeks in Tallahassee. This is the best time to do advocacy at a time when the crafting of bills and policy is debated. At the dinner on Monday night, we plan to have both representatives and senators from healthcare committees address us and answer questions regarding the upcoming session. On Tuesday, the 5th of December, we will be assigned a full day of visits with our own representatives and senators, as well as legislators on important healthcare committees. Lunch will be provided at our meeting space at the Florida Medical Association headquarters in downtown Tallahassee. I look forward to seeing you all at that time. With regard to the Clinical Congress, I hope that you will attend the convocation for new initiates on Sunday, October 22nd, from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Exhibit Hall B2. There is a reception following this where we can honor and acknowledge our new Florida Fellows. The All Florida reception will be held on Monday, October 23rd from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Westin Copley Place in the Marina 4 Ballroom. Currently, we have 103 RSVPs. The ballroom can hold 150 people and will be serving heavy hors d'oeuvres as well as beer and wine. All three chapter presidents will welcome you, as well as the programs that are currently sponsoring the event, which are Florida Atlantic University, Mayo Clinic Jacksonville, the University of South Florida, and the University of Florida in Jacksonville. We are looking for at least 2 additional surgical programs to sponsor our All Florida reception. I hope that all of you in Boston will please attend this All Florida reception. And finally, Florida surgeons are well represented in the Clinical Congress program. I hope that all of you will congratulate the following contributors to our scientific program, and please try to attend their sessions. The following sessions have Florida surgeons participating. On Sunday, the MIS Master's Course, Advanced Minimally Invasive and Robotic Techniques for Emergency General Surgery. 2 of our surgeons will be participating. Sharona Ross is giving a lecture on minimally invasive approaches to bile leaks and bile duct injuries. And Kyle Leanover from Gulf Breeze, Florida, is talking about building a robotic ACS program. The next subject is Surgery Resident Program at the Clinical Congress, Essential Skills for Surgery Residents. This will be moderated by Dr. Lee Newmeyer from Jacksonville. The RAS ACS Skills Competition, So You Think You Can Operate. The moderator will be Joanna Ochoa from Jacksonville, Florida. And then, of course, the convocation, the presidential address will be given by Dr. Henry Ford from Miami, Florida. On Monday, Burn Care, A Decade of Evolution will be moderated by Amalia Cochran from Gainesville, Florida. Endocrine surgery, a paper entitled Advanced Age is Associated with Decreased Cytotoxic immune responses in patients with papillary thyroid cancer. The lead author is Dominique Sikowitz from Gainesville, Florida. Healthcare services research, there are 2 papers. Medicaid expansion is associated with improved 2-year survival and time to treatment initiation in GI cancer patients, a national cancer database study. This is, the lead author is Aaron Mobley from Gainesville and the University of Florida in Jacksonville, as well as UNF. The second paper is Improving Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services Ratings using a multi-stakeholder framework for validating surgical patient safety indicators. The lead author is Russell Martins from the Memorial Healthcare System in Pembroke Pines. Trauma, Burn, and Critical Care 1, trauma. This is the association between pediatric readiness scores and mortality for injured children treated at U.S. trauma centers. This lead author is Caroline Mahoda from the University of Florida in Jacksonville. The History of Surgery poster session, A History of Colostomy Surgery. The lead author is Valerie Pulse from the University of Florida in Gainesville. The History of Surgery e-posters. There are 4 papers. The first paper is The Untold Story of Intersex Children, a historical perspective supporting the right of informed consent in delaying genital reassignment surgery. The lead author is Azalea Avila from the Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital in Coral Gables. The second paper is The History of Fluid Resuscitation, There and Back Again, the Whole Blood Tale. Lead author is Lauren Ashley from St. Mary's Medical Center in West Palm Beach. Dr. Fernando Ortiz Montessario, a pioneer in craniofacial and world-class care to the underserved. The lead author is Christian Lalonde from Advent Health for Children in Orlando. And the final 4th paper, the El Tazrif Abu El Qasim El Zawari, and the first illustrated encyclopedia of surgery tools. The first author is Helen Enye from Gainesville. The e-poster session, Station 1 on colon and rectal surgery. The paper is entitled A Comprehensive NCDB Analysis on Practice Trends and Outcomes of Pelvic Exoneration for Locally Advanced Rectal Cancer in the United States. The lead author is Zoe Garafola from the Cleveland Clinic in Hollywood. Next is the e-poster 1, session Station 3, Urology and OBGYN. High volume centers are associated with decreased length of stay and readmissions following surgery for prostate cancer. The lead author is Matthew Salvino from the Global Robotics Institute in Celebration, Florida. The next session is e-poster 1, Station 6, Trauma, Burn, and Critical Care 1. The paper is entitled Risk Factors and Outcomes Associated with Worsening CTH After Mild Intracranial Hemorrhage. The lead author is An Huang from the Morsani College of Medicine in Tampa. Bariatric Surgery, the paper is entitled Staple Line Disruption After a Sleeve Gastrectomy. This lead author is George Youssef from the Cleveland Clinic in North Miami Beach, Florida. The General Surgery video session on GI Disease 1. The paper is entitled Minimally Invasive Management of Large Ingested Objects Causing Perforation of the Duodenal Sweep. The lead author is Jamie Kaplan from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. The next session, Surgery Resident Program at Clinical Congress, Essential Skills for Surgery Residents, Day 2. The paper is entitled Personal Finances, or the topic is Personal Finances for Residency and Beyond, and that will be given by Marie Crandall from Jacksonville, Florida. The YFA Governing Council meeting will be co-moderated by Christopher DuCoin from Tampa, Florida. Management of high-risk breast lesions. Panel session 110 is moderated by Christine Loranga from Tampa, Florida, and co-moderated by Susan Kess-Model from Miami, Florida. A video session on plastic surgery with a video entitled Immediate Prophylactic Lymphovenous Bypass. The lead author is Nicholas Champion from the University of South Florida in Tampa. Anal rectal disease tips and tricks will be moderated by Stephen Wexner. The breast cancer 2023 will be moderated by Christine Loranga from Tampa, Florida. The YFA New Initiatives program will be co-moderated by Christopher DuCoin from Tampa, Florida. And the panel session entitled Expert Advice and Approaches for Damage Control Surgery will be authored by Amalia Cochran, Burns First Do No Harm. The panel session, Next Generation Predictive Tools and Artificial Intelligence for Anticipating Postoperative Outcomes, a paper entitled Preoperative Potential of AI to Predict Adverse Events and Prevent Complications, authored by Tyler Loftus from Gainesville. At the panel session entitled At the Intersection of Race and Ethnicity and Gender, Best Practices for Achieving Pay Parity and Pay Equity Within Surgery and Surgical Subspecialties, a paper entitled Beyond the Operating Room, Why Gender and Racial Pay Equity in Surgery Calls for Urgent Action will be discussed by Anthony Watkins from Tampa, Florida. Latin American Day on the immunofluorescence will be discussed by Sam Thompson from North Miami Beach, Florida, and magnetos, anastomosis, and usos by Dr. Nathan Zundel from North Miami Beach, Florida. Bariatric surgery and foregut 1 that will be moderated by Crystal Johnson-Mann from Gainesville, Florida, a paper entitled Outcomes of Bariatric Surgery in Adolescents Comparing High-Volume Adult Bariatric and Pediatric Surgical Hospitals. The lead author is Monique Motto from the Memorial Healthcare System in Hollywood. The General Surgery 2 session on expanded analysis for patients with acute cholecystitis indicates outcomes varied based on the COVID-19 status and treatment modality. The first author is Emily Grimsley from the University of South Florida in Tampa. Hepatobiliary and pancreas, 2 papers. One, the extent of publication bias in terminated clinical trials in pancreatic cancer, potential implications for evidence-based medicine. The lead author is Trenton Lippert from the Morsani College of Medicine at USF in Tampa, and 100 robotic pancreaticoduodenectomies, applying pancreatic volumetric studies to predict the development of postoperative diabetes mellitus. Lead author is Sharona Ross from Advent Health Tampa in Tampa, Florida. The e-poster 2, Station 1 on breast, a poster entitled Differences in Unmet Social Needs Between Safety Net Hospitals and Academic Cancer Center Patient Populations. The lead author is Alexandra Hernandez from the University of Miami. E-posters 2, Station 3, Transplantation and Tissue Engineering, a poster entitled The Use of Donor-Derived Cell-Free DNA as a Non-Invasive Biomarker for Surveillance of Kidney Allograft Rejection, a single center experience. The lead author is Valberto Sanha from the University of Florida in Gainesville. E-poster session 2, Station 4, Health Services Research. The poster is Surgeon Wellness Impact on Surgical Approach of the Incidence and Distribution of Neuromusculoskeletal Disorders. That lead author is Hamid Narasi from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. Hepatobiliary Surgery 1 robotic anatomical right posterior sectionectomy for hepatic adenoma. First author is Iswanto Sukandi from Advent Health, Tampa. The second is robotic right hepatectomy in a patient with colostomy and completely replace common hepatic artery. The lead author is Emmanuel Shapira from the Digestive Health Institute in Tampa. Video 109 is on pancreas surgery. The co-moderator is Dr. Sharona Ross from Tampa, Florida. The paper or the video, there are two videos in that session, one entitled The Robotic Central Pancreatectomy and Proximal Gastrectomy for an IPMN and GIST. Emmanuel Shapira is the lead author from the Advent Health Tampa. The second video is Robotic Pylorus Preserving Pancreaticoduodenectomy for ductal adenocarcinoma. Lead author is Michelle Marie Dugan, and she is from Advent Health Tampa. The YFA annual program for members will be moderated by Christopher DuCoin from Tampa, Florida. The multidisciplinary care of rectal cancer, understanding the most up-to-date paradigms, and the surgeon's role in treatment will be moderated by Dr. Stephen Wexner from Weston, Florida. The Pediatric Surgery 2 Clinical Scientific Forum, the paper is entitled The Influence of Social Determinants of Health on Outcomes in Severe Necrotizing Enterocolitis. The first author is Alia Bark from the University of Florida in Gainesville. Video 110 is cardiothoracic surgery. The video is entitled Robotic Assisted Thoracoscopic Repair of TE Fistula. The first author is Mohammed Alamari from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. On Tuesday, spectacular cases. The moderator is Juan Paramo from Miami Beach, Florida, and an expert panelist is Dr. Lee Newmeyer from Jacksonville, Florida. The basics of therapeutic endoscopy, endoscopic foreign body removal, is authored by Salvatore Dosimo from Tampa, Florida, and a hands-on instructor is also Salvatore Dosimo from Tampa, Florida. New Frontiers in Fluorescent Image-Guided Surgery. The chair of that panel is Raul Rosenthal from Weston, Florida. And one of the topics, basic concepts in fluorescent imaging for surgery. Dr. Rosenthal also does that. New Frontiers in Colorectal Surgery using fluorescent guided techniques. The moderator is Stephen Wexner. And colorectal surgery, does it improve outcomes? Stephen Wexner is the author. The use of ICG in foregut surgery will be moderated by Raul Rosenthal. And FGS and esophageal surgery will be given by Raul Rosenthal as well from Weston, Florida. A hands-on instructor will be both Dr. Stephen Wexner and Raul Rosenthal for that as well. Hepatobiliary and pancreas, two papers, one on modulation of tumor microenvironment in pancreatic cancer via IL-1 dependent pathways. First author is Edmund Box from the University of Miami. Medicaid expansion increases treatment for rural and impoverished patients with pancreatic cancer in southern states. Author is Helmuth Venkatesh from Orlando Health in Orlando. E-posters 3, station 2, bariatric and foregut. Postoperative patient outcomes on modified Watson anterior partial fundoplication versus Toupet posterior partial fundoplication. Lead author is Eric Tong from Broward Health. Outcomes of reversal of malabsorptive bariatric procedures, a single center experience. Lead author is Pauline Eschbacher from the Cleveland Clinic in Weston, Florida. E-posters 3, station 3, pediatric surgery. A paper entitled Abdominal Seatbelt Sign Predicts Increased Risk of Intra-Abdominal Injury and Adverse Outcomes in Pediatric Trauma. Lead author is Valerie Pulse from the University of Florida in Gainesville. A video session on general surgery 4.1 is being moderated by Sharona Ross from Tampa. One of those papers in that session, laparoscopic resection of gastrointestinal stroma tumors, with the lead author being George Yusuf from Cleveland Clinic in Florida and Weston. Video session on urological surgery will be moderated by Leslie Dean from Miami. The Associate Fellow Special Interest session, What I Wish I Knew, will be moderated by Joanna Ochoa from Jacksonville and co-moderated by Chris DuCoin from Tampa, Florida. A video session with challenging and unusual problems in surgery. One of the videos is laparoscopic repair of incarcerated hiatal hernia after minimally invasive esophagectomy. First author is Pauline Eschbacher from Cleveland Clinic, Florida in Weston. The video session on colon and rectal surgery. One of the videos is laparoscopic multi-organ management of deep infiltrating endometriosis. First author is Peter Scott Rogers from Cleveland Clinic in Weston, Florida. The Scientific Forum on hepatobiliary and pancreas 3. Liver, one of the papers is nearly a decade of robotic hepatectomy experience, an overview of short and long-term results from high volume hepatobiliary center. Lead author is Iswantu Secundi from Tampa, Florida. Scientific Forum on Surgical Oncology 2, the liver, with 2 papers, peritumoral injection of liposomal nanoparticles containing sustained release phenylephrine increases intratumoral chemotherapeutic drug concentrations. First author is Emmanuel Gabriel from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. And then the second paper is Outcomes of Robotic Resection for Perihilar Cholangiocarcinoma, a multi-center international collaborative study with expert robotic liver centers. First author is Iswantu Secundi from Advent Health Tampa. What's the secret sauce? Early pipeline programs and the successful matriculation of URIM students in the surgical training programs. This will, there's a paper by Patricia Byers from the University of Miami on successful collaboration between a pipeline program and an academic surgical department. Pediatric Surgery 4 clinical paper entitled Intraoperative Physiological Factors in Postoperative Abscess Formation After Appendectomy for Perforated Appendicitis. Lead author is Henry Chang from the Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg. And Thoracic Surgery 2, Esophageal Lung Transplant and Mediastinal Disease, paper entitled Single Institute Experience with Conventional Open versus Robotic Assisted Approach for Tracheobronchoplasty, with the lead author being Nagaswati Gunteru from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. The e-poster session 4, Station 1 on bariatric and foregut 2. The paper is entitled, or the poster is entitled, Is Magnetic Sphincter Augmentation Links Superior to Partial Fundoplication in the Treatment of Gastroesophageal Reflux Disease, comparing 2 years of clinical outcome. The lead author is Nicholas Lago from the Coral Springs Medical Center. The e-poster 4, Station 3, colon and rectal surgery, The paper is entitled Racial Disparities in Bowel Preparation and Postoperative Outcomes in Colorectal Cancer Patients. That lead author is Alexandra Hernandez from the University of Miami. E-poster 4, Station 4, Vascular Surgery 1. There are 2 posters, one on hereditary aortic aneurysmal disease, surgical therapies and outcomes. Lead author is Ashara Challa from Miami, the University of Miami. The second is number of sacrificed accessory renal arteries and type of approach during aortoiliac intervention in patients with horseshoe or ectopic kidney does not influence early and late outcomes. The lead author is Gaith Almani from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. E-poster session 4, station 6, plastic and maxillofacial surgery. The poster is Patients with Pierre Robin sequence. Primary author, first author is Maimon Mohudin from the Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital in Hollywood. Video session on pancreas surgery, type 1 portal vein resection in laparoscopic Whipple, tips and tricks. The lead author is Montse Adele Trapp from the University of Miami Cancer Institute. The use of artificial intelligence in surgical care, understanding the applications of AI in predictive model development, will be given by Tyler Loftus from Gainesville, Florida. General Surgery 5, there are 2 papers, one emergency surgical treatment and triage alert system, a multidisciplinary quality improvement pilot study. First author is Jacqueline Cleaver from the HCA Florida Kendall Hospital, and the role of laser hair removal in the management of pilonidal disease in children. The first author is Maimon Mohudin from the Joe DiMaggio's Children's Hospital. Surgical Education 4, Educational Environment. That paper is entitled Dedicated Institutional Mentor Input Prior to Presenting Research at a National Vascular Surgery Meeting. What is the value of this interaction? Primary first author is Michael Amendola from the University of South Florida in Tampa. Scientific Forum, Vascular Surgery. One of the papers is entitled Endovascular Aneurysm Repair. That lead author is Joel Grunhut from the University of it's Baptist Health, South Florida in Boca Raton. A video session entitled Cardiothoracic Surgery is video. There are 3 videos. Video-assisted thoracoscopic ligation of the thoracic duct. Status post-complicated hiatal hernia repair. Lead author is Matthew Thomas from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. Right thoracoscopic robotic-assisted resection of near circumferential distal esophageal leiomyoma by Naga Swati from Mayo Clinic Jacksonville. Plan B, management of gastric conduit ischemia during esophagectomy. Lead author is Mohammed Alamari from Mayo Clinic Jacksonville. And finally, on Wednesday, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. This is being moderated by Rohan Joseph from Tallahassee. Panel session, the top new pediatric trauma guidelines and algorithms, a multi-society collaborative review and discussion. The paper is entitled Remember the Kid in Kidney, Pediatric Blunt Renal Trauma Management by John Dross from Jacksonville. Surgical Jeopardy. Fortunately, we have 4 residents involved from the Florida chapter. It's Rebecca Cook, as well as Daniel Matienzo. And from the Memorial Healthcare System, we have Lucia Castro and Azealia Avila. Our scientific forum on general surgery 6, a paper entitled Perioperative Outcomes in Substance Abuse Patients Undergoing Urgent and Emergent Surgery. Lead author is Jacob Jensen from the South Florida Morsani College of Medicine. Hepatobiliary surgery 2, a video session of being co-moderated by Iswanto Secundi, and 2 videos entitled Robotic Caudate Lobe, Hepatic Resection for Pericaval Colorectal Metastases. Lead author is Iswanto Secundi from Advent Health Tampa. And the second video is Robotic Biliary Stricturoplasty and Roux-en-Y hepaticojejunostomy after hepatic arterial infusion pump injury. Lead author is Emmanuel Shapira from the Digestive Health Institute in Tampa. The annual update on surgical critical care is being chaired by Alicia Moore from Gainesville, and a paper entitled The Updates in Sepsis Management, Source Control, and Antibiotic Stewardship is being given by Phil Efron from Gainesville, Florida. Hepatobiliary and Pancreas 4 Pancreas in the Scientific Forum is being moderated by Caitlin Hester from Coral Gables, and 2 papers, one, an institutional analysis of hospital readmissions following a robotic pancreatectomy, will be authored. Lead author is Sharona Ross from the Advent Health Tampa. Second is Florida Scoring System for Prediction of Intraoperative Difficulty and Postoperative Outcomes for Robotic Pancreaticoduodenectomy. Lead author is Sharona Ross from Advent Health in Tampa. Vascular Surgery 4, the institutional adoption of protocol for median arcuate ligament syndrome correlates with improved surgical outcome. Lead author is Santh Lanka from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. The e-poster 5, Station 3, Trauma, Burn, and Critical Care. That paper, Outcome Disparities Among African Americans Following Choline Trauma, will be, lead author is Joseph Crocker, MD from the University of Miami. E-posters 5, Station 6, Health Services Research. The paper is the poster is Area Deprivation Index versus Other Predictors of Postoperative Readmission and Long-Term Survival. The first author is Jeremy Balt from the University of Florida in Gainesville. Video session on general surgery and foregut 2. There are 3 videos, recurrent hiatal hernia with slip Nissen. First author is George Yusuf from the Cleveland Clinic in Weston. The angle of His fundoplasty for short esophagus. The lead author is Carolina Garcia from the University of Florida in Jacksonville. And finally, the robotic assisted Nissen fundoplication takedown and conversion to partial tube A. The first author is George Cornejo from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. And the video session on endocrine surgery will be co-moderated by Rohan Joseph from Tallahassee. And one of the videos, robotic assisted adrenalectomy in extreme cases. First author is Rocio Castillo Larios from the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. A video session on general surgery, GI disease 2. That video is laparoscopic splenectomy and drainage of splenic abscess. The first author is Mauricio Cabos from the Cleveland Clinic in Weston. And the Scientific Forum on Bariatric and Foregut 3, that paper is entitled Robotic Transhiatal Esophagectomy for Adenocarcinoma, the gastroesophageal junction and distal esophagus, a single center's experience. The first author is Morin Slavin from the Advent Health Tampa. Scientific Forum, Hepatobiliary and Pancreas 5, Liver and Biliary. There are 2 papers. One, large common bile duct stones is a predictor of variant gallbladder anatomy. First author is Jacob Friedman from the University of Central Florida in Orlando. The second is a data-driven machine learning approach for predicting textbook outcome in liver surgery, results of an international cohort. The lead author is J.N. Wang from the Miami Cancer Institute, Miami, and a Scientific Forum on Trauma, Burn, Critical Care 7, Trauma and Critical Care. The paper is Mitochondrial Glycolysis and Oxidative Metabolism is Persistently Suppressed in Myeloid-Derived Suppressor Cells During Sepsis. The lead author is Evan Barrios from the University of Florida in Gainesville. The Greening of the OR, Strategies to Start and Sustain, is being co-moderated by Marie Crandall in Jacksonville, Florida. And her paper in that session is Environmental Impact on the Healthcare Sector, again, given by Dr. Crandall from Jacksonville. The Scientific Forum on Colon and Rectal Surgery 5, one paper, Appendiceal Polyps, What is the Proper Surgical Treatment? Lead author is Victor Strassman from Cleveland Clinic in Weston. The e-poster session 6, Station 2, Hepatobiliary and Pancreas 2. That poster is Laparoscopic Distal Pancreatectomy for Pancreatic Ductal Adenocarcinoma. Does body mass index more than 25 have effect on outcomes? Lead author is Andrew Shaker from Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. A video session on gallbladder and common bile duct. For the general surgeon, there are 2 videos, robotic bile duct exploration with primary closure of choledochotomy. The lead author is Allison Limdai from Advent Health Tampa, and the not so common robotic assisted transcystic duct or transcystic common bile duct exploration. Lead author is Joshua Shaw from the Broward Health System and Nova Southeastern. The video session on general surgery hernia 2. There is one video entitled Gain of Domain, Preperitoneal Recurrent Ventral Hernia Repair After Excision of Massive Pelvic Mass. This will be given by Edward Jacob from the University of Florida in Jacksonville. And that ends our Florida surgeons' involvement in our clinical congress. I look forward to seeing you all in Boston and have safe travels.